10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, LADIMIZ, and you are tuned in to From the Ground Up Productions. And today we are interviewing the legendary DJ Cli N Tel from the West Side. So stay tuned and keep us locked.
Welcome to the podcast from Groundup Productions with hosts LADIMIZ and Ray. This is a universal platform, and there is nothing off limits. We talk about it all, and we keep it real. This is a no judgment zone, so come as you are. If you are a professional, entertainer, author, comedian, entrepreneur, or just someone who wants to get something off their chest, well, let your voice be heard here on From the Groundup Productions. Sponsorship and other opportunities are available from the Groundup Productions. Turning nothing into something. There's only one way to go from here. And now, here are your hosts, LADIMIZ and Ray.
Yeah, y'all. What's good? We are back in full effect. Happy Monday. It's your girl, LADIMIZ, and my co-host.
What?
Yo, you normally say, he normally say, you know,
I
what's up, y'all?
I wait for you to say my name.
It's your girl, LADIMIZ, and my co-host, Ray, and you are tuned into From the Ground Up Productions, and there is only one way to go from here. My boy over here got to be on cue. I don't know what's up with him today, but it's all good, though. Anyway, guys, I'm super excited. Today, we have a legend from the West Coast, y'all, in the building. Well, not technically, because y'all know we social distancing, but we got DJ Cli N Tel, y'all. So let's give it up and bring him on real quick. All right. Welcome to the show, brother. Today we have DJ Cli N Tel from the West Side. How you doing, brother?
What up? How you doing?
All right.
Chilling. How you?
All right.
Awesome.
That's great. So listen, I'm glad we got things working and going here. Let's first jump into, I want people to know a little bit about you and your history. So can you tell the people who don't know you a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. So I actually started out with a group with a guy by the name of DJ Joe Cooley. We had a DJ crew back in the day in the 80s called the Invasion Force, you know, kind of copied off of course, Soul Sonic Force. You know, we're from the West Coast, they're from the East Coast. Matter of fact, I hit up Mr. Big one day. He's a real good friend of mine. And I told him the story. I said, hey, man, you know, we when we were back in the day, we were kids, we started this group, man. We called it the Invasion Force because we wanted to be like Soul Sonic Force so bad. He just started chuckling and laughing, but he was honored at that. So we started out with that DJ crew back in high school, going around, you know, getting little parties, backyard boogies, whatever we can get. And, you know, we started to build a reputation. And then afterwards, I joined the World Class Wrecking Crew.
Okay.
I won contests and, you know, the rest is history with that. That's with Dr. Dre and DJ Yella and Lonzo, all pre-NWA, you know, a few years before they came out and they formed NWA. So yeah, that's where I started.
Okay. So you're saying when you joined the Wrecking Crew, that was before NWA?
Yeah, because initially the Wrecking Crew was a DJ crew, just that. And when I joined the crew, Lonzo had been looking for a rap artist. So he was holding a series of contests over a series of weeks. And a friend of mine encouraged me to get into the contest because we would go up there to watch DJ Yella do his thing. Okay. And so Lonzo had announced, hey, man, next week we're going to have this $100, you know, rap contest. You know, bring your best rhyme skills, come on through. So me and a friend of mine named McKinley, we worked on a routine all that week. And so that day of the contest, he called me and said, man, I can't make it. You know, you're going to have to just do one of those routines you do with Joe Cooley. So I was a little disappointed, but I still went and got in the contest and I won.
Oh, and nice. Okay. Big ups to you. Hey.
It was 8 mile moments, you know, that type of thing.
Yes.
So Lonzo asked me to called me in. He said, "Hey man, come on back on Wednesday. I want to talk to you about joining the crew." I said, "Well, I'm already in a crew, but that's kind of cool. But this dude still ain't paid me my money yet. So let me go on Wednesday, go get my money."
He said, "Yo, you better give up the cash. We ain't trying to hear that. I hear you."
Exactly. So then I went up there and I saw the skinny kid, on the turntables. I guess he was practicing or mixing or whatever.
Okay.
And I recognized him from junior high school, and that was Dr. Dre. So I said, well, if he's in it, then it's probably something cool, because we were friends back in junior high school. So I said, yeah, then I'm going to go ahead on and talk to my other guys and my other crew, because we were mainly a DJ crew, but Lonzo was asking me to make records, which was a whole different level. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm down with this.
Okay. All right. So you was a DJ crew and they asked you to start making records. That transition, was it like, okay, I'm doing one or the other, or I'm going to do both? How did that work for you?
Well, it was kind of like, I was the hype guy and the rap artist for our original DJ crew, the Invasion Force.
Okay.
So when I joined the Wrecking Crew, I joined as a rap artist, but then Lonzo later found out that I was an actual DJ, which was an added bonus. Like, oh, we got a rap artist and he's a DJ too. So yeah, so that's how that went down.
Okay. All right. So I like that, you have many skills and you're not just a hip hop artist, you're also a DJ, but you're also an educator and you're also an author, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go into, the history of that. When did you write your first book?
So I actually wrote, it's funny you asked that question. Some years ago, I wrote a children's book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called The Speaks. And it's available on Amazon and stuff like that. And it was really all about these distinctive little characters who had sort of like their own, personal they had their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was I wrote like a rap or a poem about each character, and then each character was illustrated. Yeah, and but my first book, which is my autobiography that we released at a couple of years ago now, about a year and a half ago. It's called DJ Cli N Tel. Actually, it's right here. This is it right here.
Hold it up for us. Yes, let us see that. Absolutely. Yes, actually, I did see that. Yes. So let me ask you real quick. Let's go back real quick to the children's book. What was the name that you say of that book? And is that available still too?
Yeah, it was really meant to kind of address kids who sort of were loner types, and kind of had their own distinctive personalities where people may get them wrong or misunderstand them,
Right.
So I kind of I wanted to make the book to kind of give them some confidence, in themselves, and let them know that even though they're unique, they're special. So that's what that was about.
That's really good. Now, what is the name of it? Well, the question was, what is the name of that book, and is it still available for people to get?
Yeah, it's called The Speaks, and you can get it on. It's available on Amazon. You can buy it there, purchase it there, and it's actually too. I believe it's still in animated form, where like you can go buy it electronically and you can flip through the pages and stuff like that from there.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know that might have been a while back, but those books are still very much needed, especially for kids today. So, I hear it building confidence, and also it sounds like it's very relatable to a lot of kids too. So that definitely
Yeah, I was about to ask that. What made you decide to write a book like that for kids?
I'm an educator, as well as being a hip hop artist and producer and rapper. I've been an educator now for 25 years. And I worked at every level, and I actually hold a clear, level 2 California teaching credential. And in addition to, the master's degree in education and stuff like that. And it's always been something near and dear to my heart. What happened was, while I was still with the Wrecking Crew and in college, a teacher had approached me about working on a project with her. And initially, I never had really thought about using sort of like the medium of rap to teach.
Okay.
But he approached me about that project. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll try it, you know. And so we kind of put together a series of sort of learning pieces to help teach reading, you know, to kids. And later on, I found out that she was actually using it also to teach adults. So that was kind of
Wow.
cool, to know that, you know, that work was
Yes.
put into that form. So that inspired me, you know, to be an educator, you know, to help teach as well. Because I mean, through the medium of rap, I always thought that we could disseminate information, right? And that's when
Absolutely.
we talked about a lot with Wrecking Crew, and particularly when Ice Cube came along later on, and I was a mentor of his, and so that was just something that, you know, it just kind of naturally, I kind of fell into it naturally.
So,
So, you know, and it's good, you know, seeing black male teachers, because we don't see a lot of those in our community. You know, it's normally not, and
well, I guess it all depends on what community.
well, in the black community, it's not too many. It's most of the times it's we don't see our kind teaching us, or our people teaching us. Let me put it like that, and they don't
Yeah,
know how
that's
to.
unfortunate. That's unfortunate because I believe kids need to see us and identify with people like them, to have a level of engagement and trust, and just a level of comfort, you know, knowing that there are people who grew up like them, came from some of the similar places that they came from, and are in a position that they are in, you know, in a professional teaching position or a professional position, to where they go, wow, if he or she can do it, then I can do it too.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. You said that you were a mentor of Ice Cube.
Yeah.
How did that come about and what was that like?
Oh man, funny story. So Sir Jinx is Dre's cousin, Dr. Dre's cousin.
Okay.
And back in the day, people, you know, this generation may not know that instead of having one laptop and maybe a couple of Bluetooth speakers attached to rock a party, you had to bring crates of records. You had to bring, you know, speakers and faders and crossovers and mixers and EQs and all kinds of stuff, turntables, and the stuff was heavy.
Yeah, it
That's
was work
right.
before the work.
Required a group of people, you know, almost like moving, you know, from a house or moving in and out of a house. So we had, you know, we had a lot of people around us in our crew, not just the four guys you see on album covers and stuff like that. Wrecking Crew consisted of a big group of folks, and Sir Jinx was a part of that group. And so he would always be, you know, bothering us about this little, you know, crew they had. They was still in, like, you know, junior high school, whatever. Man, y'all got to come check us out. Y'all got to come check us out. So finally one day, I think it was a birthday party, it may have been Ice Cube's, and he convinced me and Dre to go to this birthday party, not realizing that it was a setup. So we went over there. They had the turntable set up. They had the microphone set up and all of that. Jinx immediately jumped on the turntables, and this, you know, this kid with a jerry curl jumped on the microphone. This other skinny kid jumped on another mic, and they start performing. And
Okay.
yeah, and so what I noticed was the kid with the jerry curl, he had some fire. He was doing his thing, man. And so I pulled Dre to the side and I say, hey, man, you know, we got to work with these kids. You know, they got something here. You know, let's do something with them. And Dre was like, nah, man, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. So finally, I convinced him, and we pulled him into our little demo studio, and we started working with him and cutting stuff with him. And I started working with Ice Cube on you know, how to rap, how to rhyme, how to put, you know, lyrics together, what was the etiquette in the studio, what's important about, you know, technique and emphasizing, you know, things like that. And then I started working with them on their stage performances as well. So that's how I became a mentor when he became a part of the Wrecking Crew family.
That's nice. So you already had that teacher skill in you from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, and I think it comes from, you know, growing up being the eldest of five,
Mm-hmm.
bro, you know, and you know, trying to help moms, you know, keep the siblings in line. So that's, yeah, that it kind of came from that.
Was Ice Cube
Nice.
easy to mentor?
Yeah, very. He was first of all, he was already talented, you know, beyond measure. and I knew that, and I could tell from the beginning. You could tell when people are gonna be successful. He was so enthusiastic, so eager to learn. He soaked everything up like a sponge, and
Yes.
he was really intelligent, smart dude, and so he reminded me a lot of me. That's like was like, yeah, we got to work with these kids. Yeah, you could tell from jump that he was easy to work with.
Big shout out to Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. He's definitely doing his thing, and like he's definitely a leader in the community and with the people. We just love how they brought hip hop to another level with standing up for our people, and we're on the East Coast, so we had Public
Yeah,
Enemies
yeah.
and Boogie Down Productions and stuff. And then we had our NWAs on the other side. So it don't matter because we all in the same gang, right? It don't even matter. You know what I mean? But we all going through the same thing, just in different areas. But it was nice to just have all of the people, all the different artists that were speaking up for us through music. That's what I really love about that, you know?
It's cool you say that too, because what a lot of people don't realize is early '80s hip hop, particularly East Coast, West Coast. There's a strong connection. In fact, the guys from who used to work with Sylvia Robinson, Duffy Hooks, and Cletus Anderson, who came from New York, they came out here and started the Rappers Rap label, which started employing a lot of West Coast hip hop artists like Disco Daddy and MC Frosty and Love and C and those cats. And then, heck, Davy D showed DJ Yella how to scratch.
Oh,
When Chris Blow
wow.
came out here to do gigs and stuff. In fact, Roger Clayton, who was the founder of Uncle Jam's Army, introduced Lear Cohen to Russell Simmons. So
Really?
there's so many connections, East Coast, West Coast, that it's astounding. One of the first DJs to scratch on the West Coast, Mixmaster Spade, used to go to school. He attended junior high school in New York, learned from the cats in New York, came back to the West Coast, and disseminated, mixtapes to us, and us DJs learned how to mix from that. So there's so many connections, East Coast, West Coast. We all one family, like you say, man.
Right, right.
That's right. That's right. So let me ask you this. So talk to me. Okay, you a DJ, right? So now, times are very different with how people DJ. Like you said before, you had to have the crates and all of that stuff you walking in. It was totally, totally different. Now the way DJs is, you just go online. It almost seems like anybody could kind of do it in today's time, right? So you, as somebody that's a veteran in this game, talk to me about how you feel about how technology has changed the way people DJ.
So I have two opinions about that.
Okay.
One, obviously, I'm all about creating an egalitarian society, right?
Mhm.
And sort of making sure that the barriers to entry are broken down, people have access, to the technology, to the information, and to enhance society as a whole. However, it is also important, equally as important, for us to hone our craft, to learn the craft, respect the craft, know the history, understand it, appreciate it, because it's not just about the money. It's also about the art. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
think when people respect the art and
Absolutely.
understand the art and what it has meant to those who created it or developed it or enhanced it, then it makes your experience that much greater. So I encourage anyone who wants to get into entertainment or DJ or production or rap or whatever it is to really, hone the craft, learn the history, understand the art form as it is, and you can be a greater contributor to the art form as opposed to just being a someone who is only using it as a tool to kind of profit. So that's kind of like my take on it. And
Okay.
because I've worked with folks who created innovative sort of machinery, in the art form to enhance it. Because we got a lot of blowback even in the beginning as DJs when we were sampling or scratching, using certain records, and musicians and artists were like, yo, they're not real musicians. They don't You know, they don't play any instruments. They're just, taking our stuff and repurposing it. But the reality of it is that you had to have an ear first to even find those gems and pieces and sections of music to utilize. And then secondly, a lot of us are musicians. I'm a musician. I'm coming from a family of musicians. So I took offense to that. But in the end, I think it all worked out because then jazz musicians and blues musicians start to realize and understand, oh, okay, these guys are actually reintroducing my music to a whole new generation.
Exactly.
Who would never have even considered it, in the beginning. So I think it all worked out in the end, and it kind of all balanced out.
You also help them in the end make money because of a copyright,
That's right.
A lot of them.
That's right.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. I'm glad you broke it down like that. Because a lot of people say, well, they look at these cats, they on here, they just got the little laptop and they DJing and they don't even really know how to scratch. It's a lot of different things, because when you think about how, when, like you said, when you're creating a different culture in a way, right? It's still the same, but it's like the culture really understanding how this all really came about. The reason why people love it and want to do it today is because of what somebody else did before them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you're building on that foundation. First you create the foundation, and then and as long as the foundation is strong, then you're going to build on that foundation. I embrace technology. I embrace the future. I embrace things that happen that are innovative and new. So and I encourage my fellow DJs who came up with me, who can tell those 8 Mile in the snow stories and stuff like that, to not necessarily discourage the button pushers and the folks like that, but to encourage them to understand what we went through so that they can have a better appreciation for what they do now.
Absolutely. That's good. Absolutely. I got to give you some claps for that. For sure. That's good. That's good information, good knowledge, and a good message for the people, for DJs that's coming up now. Because again, that and what that does is, what do they call it? Bridging the gap, right? Bridging the gap. Absolutely. Now,
I mean, it's going to happen. Things are going to change. Change is the only constant, right? So it's going to happen. So you either embrace it or you get left behind.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Eventually, the DJs of today will be considered older. Their technology will be considered old the way they're doing it now. So
exactly, because they'll be talking. 20 years ago, I used to.
Right.
You just gotta think of a song or think of a mix, and it happens. Who knows, man.
Times be changing, but yes, you do gotta embrace change. Now let's get back to your other book that you wrote, that you just pulled up there. So talk to us about that book, the name of it, where you can get it, and what it's about.
Sure. So it's DJ Cli N Tel, the autobiography, essays, and writings of a modern day Renaissance man. And it's that second half sounds a little self-centered, but I'm really not. But I was inspired actually to write it from a conversation I had with Ice Cube on the set of Straight Outta Compton. I kind of had some stories and ideas in the back of my mind, but I came to him and I said, "Hey man, I want to thank you for, you and Dre for putting this movie together, because I think it's really great that it's time that, people kind of see what's going on the West Coast." And he said, "Man, I'm really doing this because I want to open the door for other people to tell their stories too." And that little light went on in my head, like, ding, there you go. I need to go ahead on and sit down and write this book. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to set the historical record straight. I wanted to make sure that any gaps in the history or any gaps or in the story were sort of filled in, at least from my perspective. Because, Straight Outta Compton is a cool movie, and I'm glad they did it. But there was at least an 8 to 10 year history that happened even before that, like some of the stories I'm telling you now about Ice Cube and the Wrecking Crew and the origins and stuff. Right. So that part couldn't get in there because obviously you can only tell so much of a story in 2.5 hours. There's a lot of history of 30, 35 years of history. So it was important to me anyway, personally, to kind of set that historical record straight and be able to give people who wanted to go deeper into the story. I wanted to make sure that those gaps were filled in, and we told the whole story and made sure that we gave people who wanted to go deeper into the story the information. So that was why I was inspired to really do it.
Okay.
And it's worked out really well, and it's been well received in terms of the story itself. People were congratulating me, and a lot of folks were like, well, "Okay, well, when are we gonna see that movie?" I'm like, "Oh, hold on." But I have been approached by a couple of production companies, about the idea of actually turning the book, into a feature. Lonzo also has a story that he's telling with his book, Not Without Alonzo. And so when you start to sort of compare these notes and put these things together, you get a really rich and full sort of perspective on West Coast hip hop, the most dynamic groups that sort of rose above, because there's a lot of groups, and we encourage each other through friendly competition. Well, sometimes not so friendly, but mostly friendly competition.
Okay.
And it sort of helped for us all to be better as business people, as professionals, as artists.
Nice.
Now,
nice.
Were you a part of the Straight Outta Compton? Did you have any involvement in Straight Outta Compton?
Other than, well, from a cursory view, yes. When they were putting together sort of like the research, and they were approaching, some folks about where was this location and why and who did what where and stuff like that. So we were involved on that level of helping them sort of put together the research and sort of tell that story, because obviously there are gaps in memory, and
right.
You don't always remember everything. So I know that Yella had been approached, I had been approached, to sort of help fill in some of those gaps, other than the interviews and documentary stuff that people had already seen.
Okay. So your book is pretty much giving the history before Straight Outta Compton, right? And filling in, like you said, those gaps. How, people have, memory issues, right? In today's time. How did you remember like all of that stuff? Like, do you keep certain like notes, records, or videotapes or certain things? How did you remember everything to be able to write that?
I used to keep a diary a long time ago, until DJ Unknown told me, man, don't write stuff down, man, don't do that. But
why not?
But you could, like, when you're creating songs and you're creating art, you can sort of remember where you were when you did it and why you did it, sort of thing. So a lot of times the music for me was a record of what I did, and then you put that together with pictures and other photos and images and articles. So it's not that difficult to sort of recall certain stories. But I would say that writing the book, and my advice with anyone who's going to write a book, it takes consistency. It takes a sense of purpose to say, no matter what, at this particular time, on this particular day, I'm going to sit down and do this for this certain amount of time. So you have to be consistent, disciplined to get it done. Because I know there are a lot of people who have stories to tell and they want to write a book, but they either make excuses like, well, I don't have the time, or I'm too busy, or my work, or whatever it is. But I would say it's just like, if you do push-ups every day or sit-ups every day, take a moment to just do something, to do even a little bit of it, even if it's writing down notes to something. And I mean, we have so much technology available to us today, our phones and everything. You could literally use that or utilize that as sort of like your personal secretary to put down or jot down or just speak a lot of notes into it and then sit down and put it together. So it was an exercise in discipline for me. Plus, man, reliving a lot of the stuff and recalling stuff in your head, you'll be surprised, the emotional effect that it has on you. And one of the other things that I was able to do was travel to some of the different places to kind of to jog my memory as well. The housing project that we grew up in, some of the halls that we performed at, and the dance spots. Some of them not even there anymore. But just going to those locations helped to kind of help us with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I know, I guess, yeah, I can understand as when I was writing my first book, it's like reliving those moments all over again, and then you start to remember. So I totally get it. I didn't have a diary. I guess my book was my diary. But so, what'd you do with that diary? Did you get rid of it? Did it have some deep, dark secrets in there?
I still have it around here.
Oh, you do? Okay, so that's like the golden. Okay, that's like the black book then.
Somewhere, maybe in a safe. Who knows? Maybe I'll bury it in a time capsule.
Oh gosh, yeah, right. You never know.
Yeah, I want that falling into the wrong hands.
Well, we don't know that. So let me ask you this: when as a DJ, you're going around, you're going to different places, you're touring. What is the craziest story that you could remember when you were doing all of that? What is like the wildest story that make you say, "Oh my God, I can't believe like I did that, or I've been through this, or I was there"?
Yeah, well, okay. So he's gonna be mad at me telling this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. So we started touring, and we were in California. We had this gig we had to do, and I believe it was Stockton, California.
Okay.
And so we did the show. We performed, me, Dre, Yella, Alonzo, and whatnot. And we went back to the hotel. Well, a few young ladies followed us back to the hotel, and one of the young ladies followed DJ Yella back. And so, yeah. So anyway,
wait. There was too much of a pause there. I feel like you got to fill in the blanks.
I don't know if this is PG or not, but anyway,
it's not PG. We give it to a roll off from the ground up. It's okay.
He had relations with the young lady, but then all of a sudden, we start hearing stories that the sheriffs were on the way to it. And so we're like, what the hell's going on? So we hurried up, gathered all our stuff together, and packed our suitcases and jumped in the van and got on up out of there. So come to find out later that the young lady that Yella was with was the sheriff's daughter. And yeah.
Oh Lord, no, not the sheriff. We got to duck now. Oh my goodness.
Man, we escaped just in the nick of time, boy, because he sure wanted to talk to us, man. And luckily, I think it was one of the security guards or somebody from the club that tipped us off. And yeah, we got the heck up on out of there, man. But yeah, it's just stuff like that went down.
The sheriff's daughter. Okay.
Have you ever had any time where you felt like, you know what, this is not what I want to do anymore?
Never. That's a great question, man. Because I've always been so passionate about performing in art and just making art for art's sake and helping hopefully have people feel a certain way that I've never wavered on that. And because I think for me it's about the connection that you get with folks, because I just believe that there's a level of good in all of us, and you could reach people and affect them in ways if you're doing something positive, if you're doing something that they can relate to, I mean, it may not always have to be positive. It'd be just something they can relate to, where they're at. So that's why I've never really wavered on that. And, growing up, me and my cousins, when we went to our grandmother's house every weekend, we would go in a room and practice like a routine for one of our favorite groups. And we come out and we perform it, in front of the family. So it was just that type of thing. Our black folk,
Yes, of course.
But that was always in me. And I had actually started out as an actor, doing plays and stuff like that. So the stage was sort of like second nature to me, and that's why when I joined Wrecking Crew, we did incorporate a lot of sort of theater elements into what we were doing. So our stage shows had sort of like this kind of theatrical perspective to it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. That sounds really, really dope. Let me ask you now: is when it comes to like the members of NWA, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, do you still have a great relationship with them now to this day?
Those, yeah, those are my brothers, and I'm so happy for them and so proud of what they've been able to accomplish. The progress that they've made because I know them personally, right?
Right.
There's a public persona that a lot of people see and speculate on and talk about,
Hmm.
but when you know someone personally, you know truly where their heart is, and you know truly what they're about for real, then
Yes.
it just enhances the seeing the success and seeing what they've been able to accomplish. I mean, it's no secret. I was asked to join NWA back in the day. Easy E was trying his best to recruit me and get me involved in that and everything they were doing. But at the time, I was in college. I knew that the professors in the African Studies department would not tolerate me, out there wilding out like that. And so there was a certain level of image and respect that I had to project even then. So I turned him down initially at that time, but right before he passed away, we actually did start working together. But it was going to be under my terms, right? But
Okay.
fortunate thing that happened with So, but yeah, yeah, I have been asked to join the group and decline. But again, like I said, I'm proud of their success and happy for them. And yeah, just yeah, to this day, when we see each other out and about, it's all love, it's all good. I mean, we don't call each other every day and say, "Hey, man, guess what my daughter did today?" Anything like that. But
Right.
there's absolutely nothing but love and positivity, with those guys all over.
Okay.
That's what's up.
All right, so let me ask you this: do you listen to the radio now, or do you feel that music have changed? And if you do, tell me what you think changed about it and how you feel about the music industry. So that's kind of like three questions in one.
Oh, good question, man. So, yes, I still do listen to the radio. I mean, for a
Okay.
lot of reasons. One, as a DJ, I always want to keep up on the latest trends, what people are into, what the current sort of generation is into. Whether I like it or not is irrelevant. As a DJ, it's my job to play the music that the people got to give the people what they want. Now, in terms of how I look at the industry today, in my talks and lectures and when I talk to students, I always tell them that we have to distinguish between the rap industry and hip hop culture. Even though hip hop culture is sort of the broad umbrella, the rap industry, rap music is within that umbrella. But the rap industry is profit driven. There's a profit motive involved in that.
Mm,
Many different iterations of rap. We all have our own sort of era that we appreciate more so than other eras of music. The golden age and trap music or whatever it is, whatever your sort of genre of music is that you love, that's what you love. However, understanding what the rap industry is, it's a profit driven industry. So folks are going to make the music that they think is going to drive the most people or most consumers to to their brand, and they're going to market it that way.
mm,
However, and that changes all the time. It's almost like it cycles like through like the same way as like high school does or something. I don't know. It's weird, but hip hop culture is robust. It's long lasting. It's been here for 40 plus years. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we can be a part of hip hop culture, but not necessarily appreciate the current trends in music, but we can still love the music of hip hop. And that's really the way I sort of, make the distinction. Because as a producer, I look at it as okay, well, if I'm going to work with a particular artist, what is that artist's style? And I have to sort of work with that artist and really operate with their style in mind, and then sort of bring it into kind of like, then if I want to add other elements of kind of like what I would do, then I'll do it there. But again, if the incentive is to get it on the radio or get it to the biggest audience possible, then that's the perspective that that producer is going to approach it from, versus, okay, I want to just be down for the culture and make music, that is appreciated by, the hardcore hip hop heads. So you got to look at it that way.
So, what's your favorite genre of music? And as a DJ, when you have to pick a song, do you base it strictly off of what you think the people want to hear or what you like personally?
Well, my favorite genre is boom bap. I love boom bap.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm a lyricist, so I gotta have the lyrics, man. I gotta have the double entendres, and I gotta have the flipping and the flops, and I gotta have the double ups, and I gotta have that clever sort of way of putting rhyme schemes together. I appreciate that on a whole nother level, because to me that's next level poetry. But
Absolutely.
but when I pick my sets, it the audience doesn't determine those sets. I mean, there are some sets that are free form. It's like, get it, I'm gonna play whatever I want to play. And if you like it, you don't like it too damn bad. But then there are other sets where you have to be aware. Okay, what is the audience here that I'm speaking to? Because again, the one thing you learn early on as a DJ, if you even about your salt, is how to read the crowd. How to figure out what they are into, what they're rocking to, and what they're gonna vibe out to. So that's kind of like the way I approach that. But yeah, good question, man.
And do you get your energy and vibe? Does it come from how the crowd is? Like if the crowd is just like, do you feel like, oh God, I'm not really into this? Or do you feel like it's my job to really just make them move? Like where does your energy come from when you're DJing?
It depends. I mean, I love music. Like, music, I listen to everything from classical to baroque to to Scott Joplin, cakewalk, and jazz, and of course R&B and hip hop, rock, country, everything. And I find elements of good in all of that. So I think as I expand sort of like my knowledge base of music, that to be able to connect with the crowd, having sort of a wide base of knowledge of music and listening to everything.
Okay. And do you have a certain top five? Like this is my favorite top five artists that I listen to or like the best.
Wow. See, I'm gonna make somebody mad if I know so many people, and I admire so much music. So it's very difficult for me to say a top five in terms of just in general. But I will say this: I have a top five of artists that I admire, because one, I know them personally, and two, I consider myself friends of theirs, and three, I sort of admire their style. So Melly Mel,
Okay.
man, Kumo D,
Right.
yeah, Run DMC has always been at the top of my list, in terms of that. On the on the West Coast, man, I got a few, but I'm just gonna go with my man Ice T, because again, I know him personally, and then I would say Outkast. So that's just like off the top of my dome. There's so many more.
Yeah.
Right. I know that's like a hard question because you gotta you feel like you gotta pick, and then sometimes when it's over, you're like, darn, I forgot this person, or I should have said this one.
Exactly. I leave somebody out, and they're gonna be mad at me.
You're like, hold up, you forgot about me. What you saying? I'm the top five,
Again, that's just off the top of the head. So I'll tomorrow. But yeah, I would say.
So let me ask you this question. Who you are today. Now, you always seem to have been a very intelligent, educated brother that was very, skillful and smart and all across the board. What would you say now, or what do you know now that you didn't know before that you would say to your younger self, like, I could have done it this way, or I'm glad I did it this way?
You know, I would. My mother and grandmother would always tell me that I had a soul, and I didn't realize what that meant until later on in life because I was able to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that I saw other people sort of fall into, a lot of the traps that they had fallen into based on the decisions that they had made. But hey, I listened, man. I was raised by some strong black women. I mean, they didn't tolerate no mess, but at the same time, if you stumbled and kind of tripped a little bit, they pick you back up, dust you off. Boy, you better get on back out there and make it happen.
Yes.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. But I would say to my younger self now, just man, stay the course, believe in what you believe in, live your truth, make the best of what you can. Don't try to emulate or imitate anyone else. Find your lane and stick to your lane because who you are is unique. You got value, you have worth, and nobody can take that away from you. And the one thing that I'm proud of that I was able to do is pursue an education because that is the one thing nobody can take away from you. They can
Yep.
take away your
Absolutely.
car, house, your clothes, all this other kind of stuff. But the one thing that is a value that no one can take away is an education. So if you are in a position to do it, man, get an education. And I encourage that. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Okay. All right.
Now, speaking of
Great.
education, I believe you said you getting a PhD.
Yeah, I'm pursuing a PhD in education and of course organizational leadership. So yeah, we're working on that. We have a few more years to go, but it's coming along really well. There's a lot of work involved, a heck of a lot of writing, not writing in terms of like raps and music, but a lot of research and a lot of writing in that area. But yeah, it's something that I wanted to do. I've always wanted to do for a while, and now have the opportunity to do it. And I was actually really inspired, not because of what happened with the pandemic and everybody being at home. I actually started before that, but what really kicked off for me was the death of Kobe Bryant. And
Mm,
listen, you only live once, and whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals in life are, you know, don't hold back. Got to pursue them.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was. Ooh, I think that was the start of that whole year, just going downhill. Like we just everybody felt that everywhere.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was much.
it was. Ooh, and then we just had the anniversary just recently
Yeah,
um, of his death. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and his daughter. We got to remember his child too. A lot of times, of course, everybody know Kobe Bryant. He had his baby girl on there, and there was other families and other lives that were also
yeah,
lost on that plane too. So rest in peace to everybody that lost their life on that plane. Um, what was I gonna ask? I just totally went in because I started thinking of that, and that just like frustrated. Oh, the pandemic. Um, you say you were writing before that, the pandemic. Has this pandemic affected you in any type of way? Rather, it was um affecting you in a negative way or in a positive way? Did it affect you where like it stopped you from being able to do things, or did you find yourself like I have so much more time to be able to do it because I'm not distracted?
yeah. Kendrick Lamar had, I think it was a line he quoting him. He said something about being an extroverted introvert. So I think it turned a lot of us into introverts, but those of us who found ways or find ways to be creative, we sort of find those nooks and crannies. It probably gave me more time to focus and more time to just make sure that the things I wanted to take care of, that I was taking care of those things. Because when you're working and you're out there and about, doing your thing with people, you get so busy, you can be distracted, and
Yes.
some things can get neglected. But I think what if you we were to find if I was to find a silver lining, in the cloud of this pandemic, is that it gave me an opportunity to sort of sit down and really get some things done, get some things out of the way that I wanted to get out of the way. Now, other things came up because um, I found that during the pandemic, when once people discovered Zoom, it made you a whole lot more accessible. But you just have to pick and choose your times, to do those kinds of things. But you're more in control of that than anything. The one thing I do miss being in this pandemic, though, is the human connection and being
Yep.
Yes.
able to be around people and in the space that they're in to sort of that. I mean, it's one thing to do it through sort of a virtual world or whatnot, but it's a whole different sort of level of engagement when you're pursuing it around people with people. I mean, we are social animals. That's what we are as human beings.
Right.
We love the interaction. I mean, that's how we've survived all these years, being able to interact with one another in close proximity. So that's the one thing I do miss about it, though.
Absolutely, me too. Like, I mean, that's serious. I was playing my son. Well, I have one too now. The Oculus virtual reality glasses and everything, and it feels so real. But it felt so good to be in there because it made me feel like, okay, I'm somewhere else now, And it's just the point of being somewhere else. And I was actually playing poker with real people in other places. I had no idea, but it's just that connection with other people. It definitely feels good. So although everybody needs their time to themselves, and we love our family, I still like to socialize with other people and connect with other people. I think
Yeah.
that definitely is something that we all need. Um, so let me just ask you. I know that you said you didn't write this song, but turn off the lights, right? Let me just play that. Talk to us about what part you played in this song here. I don't know if you probably ain't gonna hear it, but we do when we edit it.
So some of the music that was part of what I did. We had actually done a song, a love song before that, or a slow song
Uh-huh.
called Lovers. And we kind of based that off of a group called the Floaters, and they had the song called Float On. And
Okay.
so we wanted
Yes.
different, back then in hip hop, it was really important to stand out, to be different, to not be a biter, right? That was the term it was called. You
There you
can't be
go.
like anybody else. You gotta be unique. Gotta have your own groove. Gotta do your own thing. So we sort of came up with an idea. Okay, well, what can make us different from the groups out here? Let's do a slow record. And we did a record called Lovers. And it was actually a song that got us played on FM stations, which was unique back then because a lot of FM stations did not play hip hop music, particularly rap. And that got us. It opened a lot of doors for us. Got us on tours with R&B groups and all that crazy stuff. Ready for the World, Morris Day and the Time, and all that. Uh,
Okay.
so that was so the second song, "Turn Off the Lights," was sort of an extension of that record as well. So some of the music that was in "Turn Off the Lights" was music that I had composed.
Now,
Nice.
when you speak of biting now back then, and you hear music today, because almost everything you hear today sounds
The
the
same.
same. you know, when you listen to it, do you well, how do you see that now when you compare back? Because today is it's no originality. It's they just everybody comes in and they just all could do it.
They want to all sound like somebody else. And most of the time, they don't get a chance to even get on or get the opportunity because they don't sound like somebody else. As like before, it was like, nah, you sound like this person. We already got somebody that sound like that.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, originality to me is so important. However, listen, to be real and to be honest, copying has gone on since the beginning of time in terms of music, right? There was a term there's a term called fifth noting, where artists, even from back in the day, would take a song, listen to it, and they would sort of fifth note or change the bass, the last note of a bass line, or a couple of notes on the melody, and or change just enough of it to get away with that song not being an exact carbon copy.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So that's been happening. But today is way different. It's literally blatantly just kind of like taking an entire song and the beat, the melody, the music, everything, and just kind of repurposing it to where it's like, okay, no originality, or taking an app or a package that is just free kind of packaged music and dropping some lyrics or whatever on it to say that, oh, this is original. It's not really original. It's just kind of formulaic, and I mean, that's why I was going back to the whole thing about learning your craft, honing your craft, and pursuing it as a real art form versus just going, oh, I can make money off of this. Let me hurry up and slap some stuff together. It's
Right.
kind of disingenuous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with that is if you're gonna take somebody's whole thing, at least pay homage to them. Say, hey, this is where it came from. So a lot of the people that do it today don't do that. They just like, oh, this is mine, and they actually forget the person who actually did it.
Straight plagiarism.
Yeah, no, you're right, and there's a lack of integrity there. I mean, as a researcher, as a PhD student, all the writing that I'm doing, it's extremely important that if I get information from somewhere, I have to credit that person. I got to cite that reference, right? I got to tell you where I got it from. That idea is not mine. It's not original to me. I'm only using that source material, right? So you're right. I agree 100%, man. If you're if you're copying somebody, at least give them credit for it, or at least put them on the publishing. Give them their publishing. Don't just take their stuff and don't just steal it and not give them credit for it.
Just jacking it. They just jacking it. So all right, so we covered, talking about your music, you as a DJ, you in the industry, you as a we did touch also on you producing as well, and you writing a book. Tell everyone where they can get your book from again, and where people can go to support you and everything you have going on.
Sure. So I'm pretty big right now on Instagram, in terms of usage of it. So they can go there at DJ underscore CLI underscore N underscore TEL. And I have to make that distinction because, as we determined, there's a few other clienteles out there after the fact.
But you are the original, so they are the ones that have, they need to cite that. They need to say, I got it from you. You know what I'm saying?
My man already had this name, but I'm just, yeah, they need to do that. The book is available at Amazon, DJ Cli N Tel, the autobiography, essays, and writings. Also at Barnes and Nobles, they can get it on their website, Barnes and Nobles website as well. It's being used in some of the colleges and universities around the country.
Nice.
As source material for their music and hip hop classes, and they can also get it my website cli-n.tel.com. They can get it there as well. Although I would encourage them to go through either Amazon or Barnes and Nobles because it's not cheaper in terms of the consumer, but it's actually cheaper. It's actually better for me if they go through those services as opposed to going through my publisher or the person I have the actual publishing deal with, because they take a little bit more money out than Amazon and Barnes and Nobles does. So,
right,
yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Don't forget the other book because we can't forget that. That's still a good book we should put out there and promote. Yeah. So let's
Speaks, and they can get that at Amazon. Yeah, the Speaks,
and that's a children's book, and that was your first book, correct? And they can get that.
They're a group of characters that, again, like I said, they're marginalized characters that have worth and value.
All right. Okay. And you as a DJ and your music and production can be found?
The music?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I mean, a lot of the stuff is available that I've done over the years, various platforms, of course, Spotify and Apple Music and all of those different places. But I do have a sort of a SoundCloud account where what I'm basically doing with that is a lot of experimental stuff, because again, I like to operate in many different genres of music, not just the rap and hip hop world. Although that's like my priority, that's my first love.
Okay.
You know, I love hip hop, but then we do some EDM stuff, we do some electro stuff.
Oh, nice.
We have another group called it's a long name. It's Cosmic Microwave Background Radiation. That's the name of the group.
Oh, that's a long name. That's a long. Say that again.
Microwave Background Radiation, and or CMBR, and we do a lot of experimental kind of stuff, a lot of ethereal music, and even some pop stuff. So it's just different things we're doing. I actually just finished a project with Lil Eazy-E's son,
Nice.
95, who is one of the most sought after guitarists in rock. Rachel Bolan from Skid Row, and Ryan Cook from Kiss, and
Wow.
co-produced by Krista Glove, who works a lot with Dr. Dre, and we did a song for a major sort of event that's being worked on called Change. So we did that, but then, like I said, we do all kind of stuff, man. It's not just we don't just hold it down to the hip hop world. Although,
All
like I
right.
said, love.
If I'm right, you spent time in Japan too,
Yeah.
doing music.
Yeah. We worked on music over there. We did some things for VAP and EMI over there. And then also some of the music you hear in some of those DDR machines, we produce some of that music, the Dance Dance Revolution tracks. When you go to the arcade and you see people dancing, or you hear them on music videos, or you see them in the the games and stuff like that. We've done some of that music too as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear that's where the real money is in them games,
No,
the fake licenses and stuff, right?
You cannot be a one-trick pony. You got to diversify and find other opportunities and areas to work to be sustainable.
That's right. That's right. Now, this is my last question for you, DJ Clientele. Can you tell me what is your favorite? What is your favorite project that you worked on? And do you have a favorite?
That's sort of thing. Everything I've done, I like it. I know that's sort of a cop-out answer, but the reality is, because I try to put I'm 100% in everything I do. Whether other people appreciate it or not, that's a different story. But I try to make sure that everything that I do that goes out, coming from me, coming from my soul, is something that I've given my all and did my best at. And then whatever else happens after that is, it is what it is.
All right. Okay. Well, that's what I'm talking about. So everything, all of them is a favorite. That's what I'm talking about.
But listen, I loved working with different people over the years.
Okay.
I would say my most formative time or funnest time, where it really just wasn't about the business, was the early days. World Class Wrecking Crew, Dr. Dre, DJ Yella, Lonzo, ICQ, all those guys. Working on stuff with them when it wasn't just about the money. That pressure wasn't there. But it was about the fun, So I would say that was one of the most funnest times for me.
Okay. All right then. Well, listen, we want to thank you so much for coming on to the show. Big shout out to the West Side. Big shout out to you. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a teacher and an educator and educating us also through music. I think that's just so dope. And you can touch many different age brackets. You know what I'm saying? When you do it like that, you can touch so many people, which is really good and needed. So please again tell us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just man. Shout out to the Universal Hip Hop Museum, Rocky Bucano, Curtis Blow, Konzo, all those guys over there, man, that are putting together this museum in the Bronx, birthplace of hip hop, where it's going to be happening, man. And we've been, proud. I've been proud to work on that project for the last 5 years, with my, like I said, my East Coast brothers and sisters, man, and put that together. Something for hip hop, something for the culture, where we can preserve the history of the culture and for generations to come. But anyway, I just wanted to say shout out to them too, man, for everything that they're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a blessing to be able to have that, and for a hip hop museum to be able to come. And that's his stomping ground. He's from the Bronx, so I know he's totally excited about that. But yeah, so again, we want to thank you. And please give your social medias again and tell people if they want to reach you, how they can find you.
So like I said, yeah, the best place to hit me is on Instagram. That's DJ_CLI_N_TEL. DM me, whatnot. Facebook, I kind of, I'm there and hit and miss. But like I said, Instagram is really where, if you want to reach out, that kind of thing. And of course, my website, CLI-N-TEL.com, there as well. So yeah, man, it's all good. All love.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we're about to be out, and we want to thank you for tuning in to From the Ground Up Productions. It's your girl, LADIMIZ, my co-host, Ray, and we want to thank you, DJ Cli N Tel, for coming on the show, and we look forward to seeing you again, brother. You have a good night.
You too. Thanks for having me. Y'all take care.
Good night.
All right. Peace. From the Ground Up Productions is introducing our new segment, Tea of the Week.
This is From the Ground Up Productions. The Tea for the Week by Boss Lady. If you got it, drink it. We need this because we have some current events going on this week. Let me tell y'all. We're going to start local with the 7-year-old in Newburgh, New York that was brought to St. Luke's Hospital, unresponsive, and later died. Later information came out that he had shackle marks on his ankle and starvation. Listen, we have to look out for our kids. That boy was 7 years old. We've been in quarantine for, let's say, a year. Nobody's seen this child in all this time. She didn't have the baby during Corona, so that baby was 6 years old. Somebody had to know or see that this child was missing. It takes a village, people. We need to protect our kids. Make a phone call. Nobody's gonna know. You haven't seen the child in months, make a phone call. That's all it takes. Let's look out for our kids. Second, let's talk about Bashir Gray. Y'all remember him, yes, from the Empire show? It got canceled, but y'all remember him. He was really good. He got arrested for kidnapping his girlfriend and keeping her in the house. Listen, what's going on? This Corona has people losing their minds. They are off their meds, okay? And let me tell you, money don't mean nothing, okay? He had all the money, and where he at right now? Kidnapping his wife, keeping her in the house. Now he in the jail. Not good, people. Money doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. It's what's here that matters. What's in your heart? Are you a good person? All right. That money's not going to change you. Money means nothing. Now let's move on to this Ohio man. He shot 3 little boys in Ohio while his girlfriend, 23, went out to run some errands. Again with the kids, I just can't take it. We are hurting these kids, and it is just worldwide. We don't even know what's happening in Middletown, New York. I'm sure we have some out here that we haven't seen because of this Corona. It's affecting everybody. This man shot 3 kids, little boys, while his girlfriend was away. And mental, people are off their meds. We have no idea what was going on. But we need to watch our kids. What else we need to do? Females, watch who you're bringing around your kids. Stop bringing every man in your house around your children. You don't know these people. You just want a companion because you're lonely. You have your kids. Enjoy your kids. Stop running to a man that you know nothing about and then are just brokenhearted because now your kids are gone. There's 1 kid that is fighting in the hospital right now. So we are sending our condolences, our prayers, positive vibes, and energy to that family in Ohio for that young man to survive. Next on the news, we have a Supreme Court is trying to come into our houses, y'all, and take our guns without warrants. Now, before they had to have a reason. You know, like if they saw you, if they was walking by and they saw you in your window with a gun pointed at someone, they have reason to come in and see what's going on. We understand that. But what we don't understand is how y'all just gonna try to come in our house and take our guns without a warrant. No, I haven't broken any laws. I can legally own a gun. So y'all cannot destroy my amendment rights and take my weapons that I use to protect my family and my property. What do y'all think about that? I don't think that's cool. I think we need to let them know we're not having that. We're not having it. Especially behind Breonna Taylor getting killed in her own home. We're not having that. And then still persecuting her boyfriend who just was trying to protect himself. Let's get into some more tea. Now, allegedly, Cardi B stole a beat from a producer in the 845. Now, who thinks that Cardi B would steal a beat from somebody? What do y'all think? Take a listen.
So, I already seen not only one artist, I seen like 4 already, like, oh, Cardi copy my beat.
Cardi came out with this song.
And I heard that was ugly. Came from a bitch who nigga wanna fuck us.
And my man's recorded a track here, and it's literally the same joint. Like, I put them side to side. I play both of them, you're gonna see the same joint.
What do y'all think about that? Tell me. I need some feedback. Let's talk about this for a minute. Now, I want to wish everybody a happy born day. Okay? Please enjoy your days. You made it. Enjoy it. Brianna Kim, mwah, happy birthday, baby. Don't forget, Monday is President's Day. So the kids are off of school. Some of us are off of work. So enjoy that time. Please, everybody, be safe, 6 feet. I know we want to go out and we want to party and we want to see our family and friends and we want to hug because you know Boss Lady love to hug. I'm with the hug. I'm with it. But right now, I got to hold back with that right now. I just got to hug my daughter. Come here, Mariah. Got to hug you. Okay? So hug your loved ones that's living with you right now. Soon, we'll be back to normal people and it will get better. It will get better. Well, this is Boss Lady and I'll see you next week with some more tea for the week.
From the ground up. From the ground up. There's only one way to go from here.